Okay, so let's be real. Every company, probably yours included, is basically swimming in data. It's this chaotic sea of clicks, sales figures, customer feedback, you name it. But here's the thing. The real challenge isn't about gathering more data. It's about turning all that raw noise into a clear strategic direction. So how do we actually do that? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
I want you to think of the market as this battlefield of uncertainty, right? Your customers' tastes are changing, your competitors are constantly making moves, and who knows what's coming next? This is where business intelligence, or BI, comes in. It's basically your shield. It takes all those chaotic, fragmented data points and forges them into something coherent, into actual insight. It protects your most important decisions from what is, otherwise, just guesswork.
So here's our game plan for today, what we're calling the analytics ascent. First, we're going to start at the bottom, figuring out how to turn all that noise into real insight. Then, we'll climb through the 4 key stages of maturity. Along the way, we'll have to navigate some common traps. You got to know what to look out for. And finally, we'll reach the top, where we'll understand why this is all about making humans better, not replacing them.
All right, first up, from noise to insight. You know, before you tackle any big climb, you've got to pack the right gear. And in the world of analytics, that gear is your data. We need to understand the foundational pieces that are going to fuel this whole journey.
This slide really helps organize all that chaos we were talking about. You can pretty much sort all marketing data into 4 essential pillars. You've got what people buy, that's your sales and transaction data. Then what they do, their behavior, how they click around your site. Third, what they say, through surveys and feedback. And finally, what's going on around them, the market, your competitors. The whole job of BI is to pull all of this together into one clear picture.
But here's the catch. These pillars, they're just raw materials. A click-through rate on its own, it doesn't mean a whole lot. The real magic happens right here in this middle alignment phase. This is where we translate all those little tactical metrics into the language the business actually cares about. Strategic goals like growth, profitability, and the big picture stuff.
Okay, with our foundation set, we're ready to start the climb. This is the heart of it all, the 4 stages of maturity. This is our analytics ascent, where we're going to gain altitude and a whole lot of insight one step at a time.
Every single analytics journey starts with the most basic, fundamental question you could ask. It's simply, what happened? Before you can even think about looking forward, you have to have a rock-solid, crystal-clear understanding of the past.
And answering that question, that's step 1 on our ascent, descriptive marketing intelligence. This is all about looking in the rearview mirror. We're establishing a performance baseline, creating a reliable report card of what's already gone down.
Think of this stage like you're creating a detailed map of where you've been. It lets you look back and see how your campaigns actually did, spot which customer groups are growing or shrinking, and most importantly, it gives you that solid baseline you absolutely need before you can ask any of the deeper questions.
See, once you know what happened, the next question is so much more powerful. It's why did it happen? This is the moment we go from just reporting numbers to doing real analysis. This is where it gets interesting.
To answer the why, we've got to move up to step 2, diagnostic marketing intelligence. Now, this is the investigation phase. It's like we're putting on our detective hats and using our data to really uncover the root causes behind those numbers we saw in step 1. The real power here is that you're adding depth. So instead of just saying sales went up, you can now say sales went up because this specific segment really responded to our new campaign. It lets you challenge your own assumptions and stops you from making decisions based on just surface-level data.
Okay, so we've looked back and we've diagnosed the why. Now we get to turn our gaze forward. Welcome to step 3, predictive marketing intelligence. This is where we start using all that historical data to project what's likely to happen next.
And this is where some really powerful tools come into play, like forecasting demand or predicting which customers might be about to leave. But, and honestly, this is a huge but, we have to remember the crucial caveat. These predictions, they're probabilities. They are not guaranteed outcomes. They're incredibly educated guesses, not prophecies written in stone.
And that brings us to the summit, the peak of our climb. Step 4, prescriptive marketing intelligence. Now, at this highest level, the system doesn't just tell you what might happen. It actually recommends the best actions to take to get the outcome you want. It's like having a strategic compass.
So it might tell you how to best spend your budget or which marketing channels to focus on. But look closely here. The human element is highlighted for a reason, and it's non-negotiable. An AI can suggest a path, sure, but a human manager always has to be the one to check it for real-world feasibility, for brand risk, and to see if it even makes sense with the overall strategy.
Now that we've seen the path all the way to the top, we need to talk about the dangers you'll face along the way. Section 3 is all about the common traps that can completely derail even the smartest, most data-driven teams.
First up is the reactivity trap. This is such a common one. It's when you see some tiny, random blip in the data, sales were slow on one Tuesday, and you suddenly decide to change your entire strategy because of it. It's all about confusing random noise for a real signal.
Next, the classic causality trap. We've all heard this one. Just because ice cream sales and shark attacks go up in the summer doesn't mean one causes the other. This trap is all about wrongly assuming that because two things happen at the same time, one must be causing the other. You gotta have analytical restraint here.
And finally, there's the blind spot trap. This one's tricky because it's about what your data doesn't show you. Every single dataset has blind spots, missing information, hidden biases. And believing your data tells the whole story? That is one of the most dangerous assumptions you can possibly make. Okay, so having navigated those traps, we finally arrive at our last and honestly, our most important stop, the view from the summit. This is where it all comes together. This is where we understand the core idea of this whole explainer. Augmentation, not automation.
And here it is. This is the central principle of everything we've talked about. AI is absolutely incredible at finding patterns at a scale humans just can't. But human judgment, that's what provides context, understands nuance, and weighs risk. Technology is here to augment our strategic insight. It's not here to replace it. Period.
And of course, when you're wielding this kind of power, you have to think seriously about responsibility. Any great intelligence effort has to be built on these 3 pillars. You have to genuinely respect customer privacy, you need to be transparent about how these systems work, and you must have the integrity to use these powerful tools ethically.
In the end, it really all comes down to this balance. On one side of the scale, you have the data signals, that's the what. But on the other side, you have strategy, risk, brand vision, that's the so what. The mandate for any leader is to be that final judge, the one who balances these two sides and makes the ultimate call.
Which really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Your data can show you a path. It can probably even show you the most efficient or most likely path to success. But only you, with your human judgment, your context, and your understanding of the bigger picture, only you can decide if it's the right one to take.